Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm so glad you're here and you're listening to the podcast. I say it all the time, and I will continue to say, I really appreciate you for listening in and helping us get ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, according to Listen Notes. So thank you so much for listening in. And if you would, go ahead, rate, review, subscribe, depending on where you're listening or watching. Go ahead and rate, review, and subscribe. That'll really help us keep the podcast going. Now, today is a solo episode, as I do every now and then. Instead of interviewing a guest, I share some of my thoughts in a solo episode. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And my hope is that it brings you the inspiration, motivation, encouragement, as well as information to help you move forward just a little bit today. All right, so let me start by saying this. Almost every hand in the room went up. That's what happened recently when I was talking in front of an audience and asked them if they might be still wearing the quotes, old you. So I asked them if they might be wearing the old you. And I was surprised about how many hands in the room went up. The majority of the hands went up. So it confirmed in me something that I had been thinking about. And this is what I've been thinking about. It's easier than we think to get stuck in outdated roles, routines, and dreams, ones that no longer match who we are now. So, in this episode today, you'll find out why so many of us do this, the signs you might be doing it right now, and the simple shift that can make space for the life, for the career, for the business you want right now. So, at the moment, those hands went up when I was sharing with the audience. I had just finished reading a short list of signs that they might be wearing the quote, old you. It was a talk called When the Old You No Longer Fits. When the old you no longer fits. And as I scanned the room, I saw people smiling knowingly, nodding, exchanging glances with the person next to them. And then I asked, how many of you recognize yourself in one or more of these? And then I began to read off the list. Here's the list. Defining yourself by a past career, role, or accomplishment, even if it's been years. It's been years ago and you're still defining yourself that way. Hands went up. Next on the list, hanging on to habits, routines, or styles that worked decades ago, but don't reflect who you are now. Hands went up. Third on the list, playing the same role in relationships. For example, the fixer, the entertainer, the quiet one, fill in the blank role, even though you've grown well beyond it. Hands went up. Next on the list, avoiding change because you fear people won't recognize or approve of the new you. Hands went up. Next on the list, feeling like you have to prove you're still the person you once were, even when your heart's not in it. Hands went up. And the last on the list, I said, resisting new opportunities or new ways of being because that would mean letting go of an identity you've outgrown. And hands went up. The hands went up in recognition and they're just popping up everywhere. And so I'm mentioning it now because it wasn't just their story. It's my story, and maybe it's your story too. Here's what I mean. It's like wearing a favorite dress or a pair of pants or shoes you used to love. They once felt perfect. They made you feel amazing. But now, when you put them on, something's just off. It's not that they don't fit your body, It's that they don't fit you. They don't fit who you are. They don't match your personality anymore. They don't reflect your taste, your style, your likes. They just don't feel like you and who you are today. I use the example of clothing as a metaphor, but we're really talking about the old you. So here are some signs you might be wearing the old you. First sign, defining yourself by a past career or accomplishment. For years after I changed the career, I still introduced myself by my old title. It was like I didn't know who I was without it. That's an example of defining yourself by a past career. All right, sign two, keeping habits or routines that no longer serve you. Here's one. I used to get up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym because that's what successful people do, even though my body and my life rhythm changed. That's an example of keeping habits and routines that no longer serve. So that's sign number two. Sign number three, playing the same role in relationships, even though you've grown. For example, I was always a peacekeeper in my family, even when I no longer agreed with keeping the peace at the expense of my own voice. Here's another sign, sign number four, avoiding change because of how others might react. And here's an example. You might be saying, I once stayed in a volunteer role years after I've outgrown it because I didn't want to disappoint the people who counted on me. And that was one of mine. All right, here's another one. Sign number five, holding on to dreams that no longer excite you. This is not quite mine, but I have one similar to this, but I'm using this as an example. And maybe this is for you. I had a dream for years to fill in the blank, let's say to write a certain kind of book. But when I finally admitted I didn't want to do that anymore, it felt like freedom. And sign number six, resisting opportunities because they require letting go an old identity. For example, you might be saying, I turned down an invitation to speak once because it didn't match the brand I thought I had to keep up with. But now I see it could have been a step forward. So those are six samples of signs. So which one, or maybe more than one, feels familiar to you? And I want you to get caught up in the examples to say, hey, well, that doesn't fit my situation exactly. I want you to think about the broader sense of them. So I'm going to go through them one more time so you can listen in case there's something about you that's in these. All right, the first one, defining yourself by a past career or accomplishment. Kind of thinking that's who you are or saying that's who you are when it's no longer who you are. Two, keeping habits or routines that no longer serve you. Three, playing the same role in relationships, no matter what kind of relationships, even though you've grown. Four, avoiding change because of how others might react. Five, holding on to dreams that no longer excite you. And six, resisting opportunities because they require letting go of an old identity. So, which one or maybe more feels familiar to you? Here's the thing, growth needs space. The new version of you needs space that expands with your growth, not constraints that hold you back. If you try to keep your new self inside an old version of you, it's going to feel tight, restrictive, uncomfortable, like that outfit you've outgrown but keep trying to wear. And because the old version of you is holding back the new version that's coming forth, the way it shows up in your body, it could show up physically as headaches, excessive fatigue, restlessness, and it could also emotionally feel like burnout, or you feel like you're on the edge of burnout, or you may feel like something's off. is just not right and you're just not fitting into who you are now. These are signs that you are growing and growth needs space. So if you're noticing signs like these or signs similar to these, sometimes the most freeing thing you can do is just admit it. That used to be me, but it's not me anymore. By admitting it, it frees it. It lets it come out of you and it'll open up the space for you to move into the new version of you. But it all starts with just being aware and admitting it. And then when you let go, you begin to gain more energy because you're no longer dragging around what doesn't fit. You'll have physical energy, emotional energy, mental clarity because you're just not dragging around what doesn't fit. When you let go, you'll also feel greater joy because you're living more in alignment with who you are now. You'll have a sense of freedom and release and joy in those areas that once felt restrictive and tight. And you grow more resilient because you're no longer afraid to adapt and change. You'll have the ability to adapt and change with more ease and with more flow. Here's the thing, your future can't fit inside the limits of your past. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Your future can't fit inside the limits of your past. Give yourself space to grow. And know that this isn't about rejecting your past, it's about honoring it and then loosening your grip so you can step into what's next. So now let me ask you this. Where in your life, your career, your business, could you let go of the old you to make space for something better? Maybe it's a role you've been playing for years. Maybe it's a goal you've been chasing that no longer excites you. Maybe it's a habit or mindset that's quietly holding you back. Your answer might be exactly the clue that your life is calling you forward, calling you to more, and not more things, but more of who you are today. Letting go of the old you isn't about losing yourself. It's about freeing yourself and becoming who you are today. Because the truth is, you're not meant to stay the same. You're meant to grow. You're meant to change. You're meant to keep becoming. And this is a major milestone on your path to true purpose and fulfillment. Okay, so that's our episode for today. And if today's conversation hit home for you, if you're feeling like parts of the old you just don't fit anymore, I'm putting together something I think you'll really love. So follow me on social media, especially LinkedIn, to get more about that. At Robin L. Owens, PhD, at Robin L. Owens, PhD. And until next time, this is Dr. Robin.